Hey guys, OGalbina here, and today we will be talking about the new gimmick mechanic for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, what it does, essentially how it works, and what I think competitive implications could mean when it comes to using this kind of mechanic. So yeah, it'll be pretty fun. We don't know a ton about it, but I'll kind of be giving my, at least in my initial thoughts on it, and I could be wrong in 5-6 months whenever the game comes out, and come back and yell at me then. But obviously I'm just gonna kind of go off of the information that we have. So if you guys do enjoy today's video, be sure to drop a like on the vid, as well as sub to the channel. We are really close to 1,000 subs, and that's kind of just my main goal since I started uploading, is to hit 1K. I think it would be awesome if you guys could help me out along getting to that goal. And yeah, we're also going to be doing a Scarlet and Violet giveaway, 2 copies if we hit 1,000 before the games come out. So be sure to stick around for that if you want to maybe get your game for free or something like that. And yeah, that being said, let's jump into it. Okay, so if I say the name of this wrong a million times, I apologize, but reading's not my strong suit. Playing competitive Pokemon is my strong suit. That doesn't take a lot of reading, right? But this is called the Terastal phenomenon, and we're gonna read through kind of what it says on the Pokemon website, and then I have a cool graphic that I found that sort of explains it and made it a lot more clear for me, and then we can kind of talk about the competitive implications, something like this. So we have, what is the Terastal phenomenon? This phenomenon is only found in the Paldea region, which makes Pokemon shine and glitter like gems. When a Pokemon terrestrializes, good lord, a Terra Jewel appears above the Pokemon's head like a crown, and the Pokemon's body glistens like a cut gemstone. It's said that terrestrial energy that seeps from the ground Paldea region is involved in the phenomenon. Many details remain unclear. But yeah, let's see. Terrestrializing holds the key to victory or defeat in battles in the Paldea region. They all gain a special power. First, each Pokemon has a Terra type. A Pokemon's Terra type is inactive until a Pokemon terrestrializes, at which time Pokemon's type will change into its Terra type. For example, some Eevee will have a normal Terra type, but some of them will have a flying Terra type. There are 18 types, meaning there are countless combinations of Pokemon and Terra types. So, the way that I understand this, right, and I have this cool graphic here that made it really a lot more clear for me, and I'm going to move my face up here, right, so we can see this bottom little graphic. Sorry, well, on the fly editing. Keep things nice and fresh here on the OGalbina channel. So we have a regular Magnemite, right, that I'm covering up. Electric Steel has its regular stab and typing. For those of you who don't know, stab means same type attack bonus. Basically, if I'm a Magnemite and I use Thunderbolt, I'm getting a boost on top of that Thunderbolt's damage because I'm also an electric type, right? So stab moves typically do more damage, and you're obviously going to see Pokemon using the same typing that they are in attacks and things like that. Then we have a terrestrializing, or a Magnemite using like a terrestrial normal type or something like that. It becomes a pure normal type and loses its electric steel typing, as well as gaining normal damage. So basically getting that stab boost on normal type moves. Now, this is where it kind of gets well, it's already interesting as on its own right? This is where it kind of like really starts to get interesting. We have a Magnemite with an electric Terra type. And what would happen if we did that is it would become a pure electric stab on this Magnemite, and it would lose its steel typing, but then get an additional boost to its electric typing. So if it already has its 1.5 stab boost, it would be getting something like maybe another 1.5 boost on top of that, or like it would go up to 2 times or something like that. Like it goes up like by a 0.5 multiplier or something like that, making the electric boost even stronger. So there's a lot of really cool things that we can do when it comes to this. Let me pull up a calc really quick. I think this will be a good way to kind of illustrate this, because there was an example I saw on Twitter that Pokegame had of something like a Gyarados. Let's say Gyarados comes in, and I set up a Dragon Dance with my Gyarados. I'm this exact set right here, right? Let's go ahead and move it down again. Look, see, we're sliding all over the screen. I'm in with my Gyarados, right? I set up a Dragon Dance. I get it to +1, +1, right? My opponent switches in their Toxapex, right? You see, my Earthquake no longer kills. Let's say I'm adamant. Nope, not quiet. That's counterproductive. However, let's see something. With the ground typing, I now kill this after rocks, or it's just a 50% chance to OHKO. Guaranteed. A max Fizz Def set. Now, I would have no other typing besides ground, but I would be that stab ground typing, which is great. Not only offensively, but say, again, I'm setting up, let's change it back to water flying. Again, just to illustrate things. Water flying. And then we have something like a Magnezone, right? And let's say it's like a sturdy Magnezone. My opponent hard switches in. You see, obviously, Thunderbolt rocks this thing, but I know I can't kill it because it has sturdy still, even though I do a ton of damage right here. And then I terrestrialize and I turn into that ground type. And now what does it do to me? It does 0%. So there's a lot of mind games that come along with this thing. But another one I was thinking of is, say we have this case, right? Like the Magnemite using an electric Terra type, turning into a pure electric type, right? So let's take a Pokemon like Porygon, and I actually think this Pokemon's actually not in the game at all at this point. So this is something important to know. We have a Pokemon like Porygon Z, which is known for being very strong with stab tri-attacks because its ability, adaptability. So let's look up adaptability Pokemon. Perfect. I'm gonna go here, and we'll read off exactly what it does. So in adaptability increases stab of a Pokemon from 1.5 times to 2 times, right? So it basically gives it another stab boost. So with a choice specs, even though something like a Magnezone is going to resist that normal typing, it still gets just like raw to it. KO. It actually does the same amount as this neutral Shadow Ball, just because of the multiplier as well as the choice specs. Say I terrestrialize normal, my mono normal type, you know, Porygon Z already, and let's just say, like, hypothetically, it gets basically what's equivalent to a +1 boost. I'm doing 80% to this resisted Pokemon, which is a ridiculous amount of damage. Like, that is an insane amount of damage that that's doing. Let's look at something like, let's say, Blissey. I am 2-hit KOing non-boots Blissey after rocks with this Specs Tri-Attack. So there's some really, really cool type combinations that we could potentially see, or, you know, different cool things that we could do, whether it be offensively or defensively, that I think could be really cool. I'm getting like a bunch of YouTube notifications right now. So I think that's really cool. We see that only select trainers in the Paldea region are allowed to carry a Terra Orb. This is what you're going to use to terrestrialize your Pokemon. I think in-game, you'll find you have to like recharge your crystal at either like Pokemon centers or like crystals you find throughout, and they'll have like max raid dens where you can find Pokemon with a bunch of different typings and things like that, you know, based on their Terra type and things like that. So I think that there's a lot of like really cool implications from an item like this or a mechanic like this. Now, whether or not it'll be broken is to be seen. I think in a standard metagame, it won't be as bad, knowing that every Pokemon, at least in singles, I play competitive Pokemon singles. I typically play Draft League, which we'll talk about a little more in each, but just in a general scope, like singles, smoke on singles, things like that, there will be Pokemon that are better at terrestrializing than others. And as a metagame forms and people start using the same Pokemon over and over again, we'll see people kind of, you know, a lot more likely to use, you know, Terra Ground Gyarados, and it becomes a, you know, common metagame trend and things like that. So maybe it won't be too bad in that sense. But what I play is usually Draft League, which is a format in which you draft, you know, 9 to 11 Pokemon. You battle against, you use that team all season, you battle against other coaches, you see their team, and you build for it. In a format like that, where it's a counter team format, I see what my opponent has. I think a format, a mechanic like this can potentially, now I don't know for sure, again, this hasn't come out, be a little bit broken. So what I imagine happening is a lot like what we did with Z-moves in Draft League in Gen 7, in the sense that you would get 2 Z captains that could use Z-moves, and, you know, maybe certain Z-moves are banned, or certain mons are banned from Z and things like that, in order to kind of curb things, because it's a fan metagame. We can ban what we want. So for those of my Draft League viewers who are wondering, will this, you know, be allowed to draft? I think at least initially it's worth testing, and maybe having like 2 Terra captains, or maybe we do tier 3 and lower Pokemon, like, you know, Pokemon that aren't the best in the game can, you know, potentially Terra type, or you draft a certain amount of Terra types that you can use throughout the season, a lot like we did with Z Crystals when they first came out. Now that was probably my least favorite iteration of like balancing Z moves, but I think it might be a little bit better when it comes to something like this. Who knows? There's going to be a lot of things that we're going to have to test out and see what we can do. It's going to be really interesting. Let me know what you guys think of this mechanic, though. Let me know what Pokemon you think are going to be super broken outside of things like, what do you call it? Like the Gyarados example that I saw that Pokemon mentioned, or the Specs Porygon one, or we saw like a Fire-type Dragonite, which was really, really interesting, especially with like Fire Punch and things like that, especially when you come in and you try and revenge it with your Ice-type, and then you Terra-type. Like, there's a lot of mind games that comes along with things like this, and knowing when to, you know, terrestrialize. God, that's a awful name though. I do not like the name. Your Pokemon and things like that. So I think there's a lot of fun things that go along with this. I actually like the way it looks too. It's a little bit toned down from something like Mega Zemus and Dynamax, where it's just like this giant crazy thing. It's just Pokemon's a little bit more shiny and has a cool hat. So I like Pokemon with hats. I think it's cooler than big Pokemon, and it can potentially be some. There can potentially be some pretty crazy shit in here. So, yeah. Again, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you think it's gonna be like in the metagame. Which Pokemon are gonna be great with it. And if you guys are excited for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, because I know I am. But yeah, again, if you enjoyed, be sure to drop a like as well as sub to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later.